Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Voting 9 against 6, the Supreme Court has decided to dismiss the petition of Senator Leila Delima to nullify the warrants of arrest against her. The decision means that the Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court has jurisdiction over her case and not the Anti-Graft Court or the Sandigan Bayan. Delima was arrested due to drug charges when she was then Justice Secretary last February 24. Also, another senator is facing wiretapping complaints from the Justice Secretary, but Senator Risa Ontiveros says she's ready to face it all. And how do we fight fake news? A former government official has an answer. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Former Solicitor General and one of Senator Leila Delima's legal counsel's attorney, Florin Hilbay attorney, Solgen. Good to have you again, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. So voting 9-6, the Supreme Court junked the petition of your client, Senator Leila Delima, on drug charges. Your reaction to that?
Well, we haven't received the decision yet. I looked at the presser of the PIO. We still don't really know what the charges are. It's very important to look at the context. There are two charges that were leveled against her which are incompatible. The DOJ originally said that she's being charged with drug trading. And so when the petition was filed, we questioned the nature of the case, because how can you charge someone with trading in drugs when there's no evidence of drugs, of any transaction? When we went to the oral arguments, before the oral arguments were heard, the Solicitor General filed this comment and decided to alter the nature of the charge. He then said, the case is not for trading in drugs, but for conspiracy to trade in drugs. Meaning that apparently you can talk to someone about trading in drugs and that itself is a crime.
That makes you a suspect, or that makes you, yeah.
For a non-bailable charge. So far as I know, that has never been done by government, charge anyone with conspiracy to trade in drugs. And that's the most dangerous for ordinary citizens, meaning that anyone with an affidavit can send it to the DOJ. If the DOJ believes the affidavit, they can file conspiracy to trade in drugs charges against you for a non-bailable offense.
So if we were to compare that to somebody else, say somebody is selling drugs and this other person becomes the middleman, that middleman can be a suspect or can be tried for conspiracy to trade drugs?
Not even. The usual case for drugs filed by the DOJ involves in flagrante buy-bust operations.
Nahuli ka.
Yes, because yun yung pinakamadali na i-file. Kitang-kita mo yung drugs in the act of selling, and that's easiest for the prosecutors. No? And you have the drugs pwedeng may chain of custody na malinaw, and the judges will believe the credibility of the charges because you have evidence of a police officer arresting a person in the act of selling.
And dirty money. Then
and dirty money, and then the drugs are there.
Yeah.
Here, the charges are totally different. Number one, either trading in drugs for which they don't have any evidence, right? Or conspiracy to trade in drugs, which they've never done.
So here's the thing, sir. If it's conspiracy to trade drugs, if it's drugs, there's no evidence, you're saying, but if it's conspiracy to trade drugs, you have the inmates saying that Senator Leila Delima allegedly pushed them, asked them to sell more drugs because she needs to campaign her senatorial race during the past elections.
Right. Number one, those are affidavits. Number two, those convicts are disqualified under the Dangerous Drugs Act.
You were saying that. I wanted to zero in on that. Are convicts not allowed to testify?
They are expressly disqualified by the Dangerous Drugs Act. Note also that several months ago, they came out and said that they're threatening to withdraw those affidavits on the ground that they were going to be transferred. And so not only are they disqualified, they are post-hearings and post-oral arguments clearly not credible, because that means that they're only doing this for purposes of a transaction to get a more convenient place in the bilibid.
May kapalit.
Exactly.
Okay, but here's the thing, sir. The petition before the Supreme Court was, for my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're questioning the arrest warrants issued by Muntinlupa RTC, and number two, that it is supposed to be the Sandigan Bayan that should be trying Senator Leila Delima and
Right.
not the RTC, which happens to be the Muntinlupa RTC. That petition junked by the Supreme Court. I understand what you're saying. You need to look into the arguments of the justices. From what I believe and what I read, there are about 12 different, well, there are 12 opinions to this out of the 15 justices, from at least from the last, the reports that I've read. So I know it's hard to get into the details, but if they have spoken, 9 against 6, your tweet was 6, only 2 more for vindication.
Right, that's right. 6 is actually a good number for us. That means that there were enough members of the court who believed in the cause, right? We're short of 2. That might change, who knows, on motion for reconsideration. But if that's denied, then we're ready to go to trial.
So you're going to file an MR?
We have to go through the motions, right? We have to go through the motions. Pwede namang biglang umikot ang mundo at magbago ang paningin ng kahit dalawa lang na miyembro ng Korte Suprema. No? That can happen. And it's a costless activity. You just have to look at the decision of the Supreme Court, look for errors in reasoning, in logic, and
use it
try
for your
to find
MR.
a way to try to convince them. If that doesn't happen, then, you know, I'm really interested in the prosecutors because they know they don't have a case. Right. The information that they filed, I think they know already that they don't have a case. The experts in filing, you know, informations are the people, the career people at the DOJ. And the information that they filed against Secretary Leila Delima is patently defective. They know that they don't have a case.
So it's clear that you will file an MR.
Yes.
And then, but you're saying you're ready for the full-blown trial.
We have no choice anyway.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Isn't this just one decision on Branch 204? Because there's still drug charges on Branch 205 and drug charges on Branch 206. In fact, I think on Friday, the senator will be arraigned on Branch 205. Am I correct?
Well, we have no choice but to go through the motions and, you know, defend the senator.
Let's talk about the Sandigan Bayan versus an RTC, which is the Muntinlupa RTC. Really, the argument is, where should she be tried? Where should the senator be tried? They're saying that the Sandigan Bayan really looks into anti-graft laws and not drug cases, and not drug cases. So, is the case of Senator Leila Delima an anti-graft case or a drug, is it a graft case or a drug case?
Well, look at the allegations. The allegation is that
conspiracy to trade drugs.
She wanted to run for the Senate. And she needed money to run for the Senate. For purposes of doing that, she allegedly connived with these drug dealers to provide her with funds. That is bribery, right? Not a drugs case, because she could have talked to anyone, like a rapist or a carnapper, right? And that would have been bribery, right? Talking to a rapist to provide you with funds so that he can be provided with kubol amenities doesn't make Senator Leila Delima a rapist. Talking to a carnapper so that she can get funds so that this person
does not make her a carnapper.
Exactly. The same reasoning when it comes to these drug lords or these convicted drug lords. She allegedly wanted the money. She wasn't into the trade. She wasn't interested in participating in the business of trading. She was, as per the allegation of the government, interested in running for the Senate and needed the funds.
So it's a graft case?
Yes, of course. She's agnostic about the source of the money, whether it came from a rapist or
a gun dealer,
a drugs dealer, carnapper, gun dealer. By the story that they concocted, right, she was not interested in any of those trades. She was interested in getting funds so she can run.
So that is graft. Allegedly.
Obviously, that's graft case. So that's bribery.
So that's how you actually compare it, because she could have asked them to do anything else, like sell whatever they wanted.
She didn't talk to a drug lord and say, you know, I want to be part of that trade. I want 10% for every sale, 5% for every sale here, or why don't you use some of my people to trade in drugs? You know, they know this place, etc. That makes her a drug lord or being that places her in the business. But by the terms of their allegation, she wanted to run, she needed the money, and well, according to them, got the money and therefore decided to run.
So the Supreme Court made a decision on this, 9-6, and MR, you said that pwede namang gumulong ng iba yung mundo, o kaya
who knows?
Anything is still possible, right? But you're going to have to, you know, stick it out with the Muntinlupa RTC.
Out of lack of choice, of course. You have to do it.
We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, the rise of